Next, we are going to learn about advanced web scraping techniques using BeautifulSoup. BeautifulSoup provides several powerful methods for parsing HTML. To illustrate, let's use an HTML document. So I have already created this HTML document. Let's first view this in a web browser. Here is how the HTML document looks like. So we have a heading, title, and then we have a paragraph, and then we have a table. We can also to inspect, to check how the code looks like. We have a p tag, which is a title. Then we have this paragraph. Inside this paragraph, we have anchor tags. We also have a table. We have a table head. It contains the table column names. And we have a body. Inside the body, we have 3 rows. And in each row, we have 3 columns: the ID, the name, and URL. Let's extract data from this document. We first need to import BeautifulSoup, then request. Then we read the document.html file in the content variable. Let's create a soup object where we have the content of the HTML document parsed into the soup object. Let's just first print the content of the document. You can see we have the HTML code printed from the document.html file. To extract all anchor tags in the document, we use the find all function. Here we are looking for all the anchor tags, and then we iterate through every anchor tag and print the tag. Let's run the code. You can see we have all the anchor tags from the document. So here we use the BeautifulSoup find all function to look for all the elements which tag name is anchor or A, and then put the find all function will return the list of the elements that are found and are stored in the A tag variable. Then we use for loop to iterate through every anchor tag that are placed in the list, and then we print the tag. Here we have the anchor tags elements printed. You can also just print the text of the tag. So we will use the get underscore text method. In this case, we will get only the text. We have LC, LC, and tele. You can see here in this document we have these 3 anchor tags, and here are the texts of these tags. So we create this terminal and print. Here we got the 3 names from the anchor tags, which are the text of the anchor tags. You can also search for tags with certain attributes. For example, find all anchor tags with the class name. In this case, we have a class name sister for all the 3 anchor tags. So we can use the tag name and then the class name to find the elements. This is useful in those cases where you have multiple elements with the same tag name but different class name, but you are looking for a specific class name to get to certain elements. So in this case, suppose we have another anchor tag here, but this one does not have any class name. So to look for anchor tag and the class name, we'll get only these three anchor tags. So here next to the tag name, we'll use class name. So we'll type class underscore is equal to sister. In this case, we should get only the first three elements. Let's run this code. You can see we got the text from first three anchor tags. And if I change the class name for the last one and I type the class name as brother, and here I'll say Sham, and I save it. Here instead of sister, I'm looking for brother. Let's run the code again. You can see we just got the text from the last one, which is class name is brother. So in previous example and in this example, our tag name was the same, but we just differentiated by the class name. Now let's find the URL within the anchor tag. We can access the anchor tag attribute by treating the tag like a dictionary. In this case, I will again look for change the class name to sister so that we get all the three anchor tags, and then along the instead of using the tag.text, we will use tagged hrefs. You can see here are the href attributes, which are the linked within the anchor tag. We got these links from the anchor tags. You can also use BeautifulSoup to parse the HTML and extract the tables. We have a table in our HTML document. Let's extract data from the table. In our document, we have this table. Table ID is sister info, and we have three columns: names, ID, name, and URL. Let's comment out this code. First, we find the table by the tag name and the class and the ID. Remember, our table have an ID, sister info, and we are looking for the table as tag name and ID as sister info. So first, we are finding all the table rows in the table. Remember, to find a single element, we use the find function, and to find multiple elements, we use find all function. So in this case, we are looking for all the rows in the table, and then we iterate through each row which is extracted from this table. And then within each row, we are looking to extract columns, which are represented by the td tag in the HTML. Those columns are then stored in the column variable. We check if columns are not, the columns list is not empty. Then we get from the first column, we get the string as ID, and from the second column we get the string as name, and from the third column we get the string as URL, and then we print the ID, name, and URL. Let's run this code. You can see we now got the ID, the name, and the URL from the table. So we learned how to scrap data using element ID, tag name, and CSS selector, which is a class name. But we scrap the data from HTML document, which is placed locally on our computer. Here we have a list of countries by GDP nominally. Let's write code to scrap data from this table. We'll scrap the country name, the region, the last year this data was updated, and the estimated GDP. So we'll scrap data from these four columns, the first and the second, the last one and the second last one, which is the year and the estimated GDP. Let's create another file. We'll name this as country underscore GDP.py. Again, first we need to import the BeautifulSoup and request libraries. Then we define a variable with URL where we save our URL of the web page, and then we'll use request to get the content of the page using the URL. Let's copy the URL and paste it in here. Let's inspect this web page and find out how we can locate this table and then extract data from it. So again, inspect this web page. You can again click on any part of table and again click on inspect. It will navigate to that area code. Here, notice that when I hover the mouse over the HTML element, like this one is the table, it will highlight that area in the view of the web page. So I am hovering mouse over the table element, and you can see we have just the table and the classes, some classes named for this element. So what we can do is we can use the table tag name and a class name like wiki table to locate this element in this web page. So now we have our soup object created. In this line, we are using the soup object to find the table by tag name and look for the table which has a class name as wiki table. Next, we are using the table element to find all rows within the table. Notice that we are using find all method, and it will return the list of rows and stored in the rows object. I am starting to look for the rows from the index 3. It is because that we have the first 3 rows are the headings and some other information that we don't want to be extracted. So we will start extracting data from the 3rd row of the table. We again use the find all method to look all the TDs, and it will get the list of all the table columns and put it in the calls object. So we'll have a list of columns in this call object. Here we create a dictionary by the name data. We will store as a first element in the dictionary, we store the country name, and we extract this from the first column in the column list, which is extracted from the row, and then we just get the text of the column and save it as a country in the dictionary. Let's get all the columns like region, and we'll also get underscore text. Similarly for year and estimated GDP. Notice that I am using the last index, which is denoted by -1, and the second last index, which is denoted by -2. Here we have the year and estimated GDP. Once we get the data in the dictionary, let's print the dictionary one by one for each row. Let's clear the window. Let's run the code to see the output. You can see all the data in the web page is extracted and printed in here. So you can see our first country is United States, region is America, year 2023, and here is the estimated GDP. We can confirm this by looking into our data on our web page. United States, America 2021 and the estimated GDP. So we successfully scraped data from this table, which is GDP for all countries. Here you can notice our data has some random characters like this one, country name, and here in the year. You can clean this data using multiple methods. If the random characters are unique through all the scrap data in the same column, you can just use the replace method, copy the random text, and replace it with an empty string. Similarly, we can do the same with year. So here in year, we use replace and the random character is new line, and we will replace this with empty string. So when we again run this code, we clear the screen. Now you can see our country names does not contain any random characters, and the new line character is also removed from here. That wraps up our discussion on scraping data using BeautifulSoup. We scrap data from tables and using CSS selectors, IDs, and the tag names. In our next video, we'll start using Selenium to scrape dynamic websites. See you in the next video.